It's 11 o'clock.
Do you think we should still wait another minute or so?
It's up to you.
If everybody's okay, we'll wait like another minute because I know you had a lot more RSVPs than are here.
Everyone drop into chat. Good morning. Where is your region that you represent? I know we have a lot of Orlando folks with us, but where is everyone from? Live and work in Conway area. Good morning. Thank you from Lake Nona, Orlando, Claremont. Cody, good old Windermere. Aw. Love it, love it, love it.
All right, well, I guess let's go ahead and get started. Let's see here. Okay. Renee, you can hear me well?
We sure can. We can hear you. We can see your screen.
Okay, can you see me?
We sure can.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It is Gretchen, and today we're going to be going over killer open houses. Just a little disclosure, I am actually at a home inspection. I am in somebody else's house. They have great internet. I got their dog laying on the floor next to me. So just in case somebody pops in, just wanted to let everybody know that. But that's the great thing about the world that I work and live in, and that is doing everything via cloud and adding Zoom to it, along with those that are with EXP Realty work. We work virtually anyhow. So you got your laptop, you got internet, doesn't matter where you are, you can pop in and do anything you want to do. So this class is great for anybody that is brand new to doing an open house, but it's also a really good refresher, as well as adding some additional tips for those that do open houses but want to take them to the next level. Sometimes I'll have agents say, well, I did an open house, but I really didn't have anybody show up, or a couple of the neighbors stopped over. So the idea of this is setting yourself up for success from the very beginning. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the entire presentation. I encourage you all to go ahead and chat, put comments out in the chat box. You guys are welcome to interact together. And then at the very end, we are going to change the Zoom, and we're going to do it everybody together. So maybe we can have some conversations. I will be honest with you, what this presentation is, it's everything I have learned from several years of different classes that I've been to, different agents that have shared things with me. It's just all combined and put together that I'm going to share. So sometimes I can get some great ideas from somebody out there that has had success with something. Let's add it in, because this is, a business that we're constantly moving and changing and evolving things as we do them, based upon the environment that we're in and new things that we learn. So feel free to shout out, participate, and hang out once we're done with the presentation and chat. All right, so a little bit about me. This is me on a really, really awesome hair day, as you can see. I have been in the real estate industry for actually over 30 years now, from property management to a regional VP with Land America Financial Group on the title sales. I have managed 3 different brokerages. I am a broker associate myself. I have participated in combined and supporting sales. My entire career has been nothing but sales oriented. And through the years, I have kind of taken my passion of teaching and training and helping people. I'm also a certified mentor within my company, EXP Realty, and I love everything about what we do. I'm also a past president of the Women's Council Board of Women's Council of Realtors for Orlando Regional. I'm also a past vice president for the state of Florida for Women's Council of Realtors. So enough about me. Let's talk about open houses. So Open houses, let's talk about making it happen. And we're going to go through basically 3 phases today of an open house. An open house is not going and getting some lemonade and some cookies and putting a sign out in the front and sitting there and going, okay, I hope somebody stops by. That is not how you do an open house. An open house is about being strategic and preparing ahead of time on setting everything up. And that's what we're going to go through today. So beforehand, you want to take steps to ensure success. And that's what I'm going to teach you. The day of, being prepared, bringing your checklist, knowing what needs to be on your checklist. And then after, your post-action plan. Again, so many agents don't follow up with people after they've come into their open house. And I have had several agents that I have coached and trained over the years that have done millions of dollars within a year of closings from people that they have met from their open houses. One of the agents that actually won 30, the top, excuse me, it's with the board of realtors, and I always mess up, 30 under 30. One of the agents that won that a couple of years ago that I coached, most of her business, about 75% of it, was from doing open houses in her market. And she knew how to do them, and she attracted those people, and she had good follow-up skills. So you can move to a brand new area, know absolutely no one, and get your leads from doing open houses if you do them correctly and you follow up with people. All right, so before your open house, you want to schedule your open house during peak hours. When is the best time for you to do that? Plan your sign strategy. 5 open house signs are not going to get it. You got to have more. Do your research, know the area, know the property, know other comparables, and then getting the word out. So let's talk about making all that happen. So you need to start planning this 3 days before. You need to confirm the time and date. A lot of the open houses that you're going to find that you're doing are for other listings that are not your own. So you need to make sure that everybody is on board with the time and date. Research your sign placement. Pull up a map, you guys, and look at the amount of turns that you need. How many entrances come into that community? You need at least 20 signs. If you're not using at least 20 signs, don't even bother. The other thing is, I see a lot of realtors that are putting signs out that say open house, period, that they get from Home Depot or Lowe's. That is not allowed. You have to have a branded sign. And you know, one of the benefits that I have and our team has is that we have actually the Funk Collection. We've got branded signs, and we just go up to the office and grab as many as we need, and they're all branded, and you've got tons of them to put out to be able to direct people into the property. So keep in mind, you have to have a branded sign. That's blind advertising if you don't have that. You want to get your helium balloons or flags, whatever you're going to use is kind of like a flare to let people know that you're there. Dollar store is a great place to do balloons. Embark on a map where you're going to actually place your signs, have a strategy, drive through the area if you need to. I can tell you that if anything that you get out of this today, if you get the fact that you need 20 plus signs, I guarantee you that you're going to have a more successful open house, because that is so incredibly important. I have gone down the road and seen people that have, 10 signs just on the street in both directions saying open house. Whatever it takes to be able to get people there that they recognize where it is. But I've also tried to follow signs to go into an open house, and all of a sudden you get in and you're driving, and you don't see any more open house signs, and you give up because you don't know where to go. If you've got a long period of time before a next turn, make sure that you do additional signs so that people know that you need to continue on down the road. So lots of signs are really important. All right, now, 2 days before. This is probably the number one thing that people will skip, and that is door knocking. agents don't like to cold call or door knock or get out there in the high heat and do these things. So that's something that you really need to give thought to. It is okay to wear a nice pair of shorts and a nice pair of tennis shoes and a branded shirt or a nice, polo shirt that's got your name badge on it. Ladies, ponytails are fine. I have had agents that have pushed baby strollers, that have walked their calm, trained dog, that had their children on bicycles or skateboards with them when they're knocking doors. Whatever it takes, that is another great way to get leads, especially listings. I've had agents that I've worked with that have gotten $500,000 listings from door knocking, inviting them to an open house. So if you don't think that it's going to work and it doesn't make a difference, you're wrong, because it does make a difference and it can help. But a lot of people say, well, it says no soliciting. Or what do I say if I knock on the door? Well, guess what? I'm going to show you what to say today. You want to make sure that the realtor that has the listing, or if it's your listing, that it's added to your multi-listing. You can put that in MLS. You want to have alternative properties. I have had many agents that know other homes that have more bedrooms or less bedrooms, are up on price, down on price, with a pool, without a pool, so that you've got options. So if somebody comes in and goes, oh, this is a really great house, but 3 bedrooms just isn't enough. We have to have 4. And we don't want a pool. That happens sometimes. No, you can say, hey, you know what? This home would be perfect for you. And talk to them about showing it to them. Take it then into what you would call your buyer consultation. So know your alternatives. The other thing is know the home that you're showing. So I'll give you an example. I actually was showing a home that was one of my teammates' listings. And I thought I knew the home, and I found out that I didn't. And let me tell you what I did. I told somebody that there wasn't a pool bath, because there was inside the house, there was no pool bath. There was nothing that went outside to the pool. Well, what I failed to know was that there was actually a door out on the patio that went into a private pool bath that didn't connect to the house. So when you think you know the house, you may not. Make sure you spend some time talking to the listing agent, reading everything that's in the MLS so you really understand that house. If the home is located on a lake or there's a lake in the neighborhood, know the name of it, know if it connects to other lakes. Sometimes I have people ask me how deep lakes are, but I don't know that that's something that you have to know. But know a little bit about it, because people are going to want to know, can you fish? Can you water ski? Is it going to connect to anything else? So people will ask those types of questions. If you're using somebody else's listing, know if it's got a well or a septic tank. Know information about that home, because people are going to ask. So be knowledgeable. Read the seller's disclosure if you need to. Make sure you know how old the roof is. So do your homework. Don't just show up with some lemonade and cookies and a sign. All right, now we're going to talk about the day of. So, one day before. So the day before is when you're going to be out also knocking on doors. I have had agents that have knocked on doors even the day of, and they've invited people to come to the open house. And I am going to give you some script information on what you can use to say. You're going to assemble your open house kit. And I'm sure everybody's seen those plastic bins that you can get at Walmart and Target. That's what I actually have for open houses. And I've got a few other items that are in my open house kit. But you want to take bottled water with you. You want to take some notepads, coloring books for kids. The other thing that I do is I go to the dollar store and I get packaged toys that are $1 and throw 5 or 6 of those in there. So if a child comes, you can give them the packet. The parent knows that it's brand new. Tape measure, toilet paper. Just because the house is occupied doesn't mean you're going to be able to find toilet paper. Trust me, I've learned from my own situations. I have a trash bag that I keep. So if I do have anything that I'm supplying, I take the trash with me. I've got Goo Gone. I have paper towels, Windex. I've even gotten to the point that if I am going to do one, I take a Swiffer with me, because sometimes even though you've got everything prepared, things happen. So that way you can take your bin, you can keep it in your garage. When you're ready to do an open house, you can check your inventory of everything and throw it in your car and you're ready to go. That has probably been one of the best things that I learned when I started doing open houses, was having that bin and having everything prepared. I also have a little chalkboard that I got at Hobby Lobby that I say, you know, welcome. And I've got some other materials in there with business cards and my sign that I use for my touchless check-in process. So I can't remember if, okay, I couldn't remember if my touchless check-in process, if I had a slide on it. So let's talk about this for a couple of minutes. And I, encourage you guys, if you have an opportunity to go in and do some chat on this. Let's talk about pre-COVID. A lot of people had, like cell phones or your iPad or your laptop, or just even paper for people to sign in. And they would ask for their name, their phone number, their email, and, finding out if they're currently looking for a home, if they have to sell a home, and they have this little questionnaire. Well, prior to COVID, you would see a lot of people using a lot of alternative ways to do their sign-in. Well, even before COVID, I had a different process that I started using that I actually learned from someone else, and I loved it. And that's what I used, and that's what I even started teaching prior to really needing to have a touchless process. And that is, have a sign that says, check-in required, text your name and email address to, and give them your cell phone number. So what happens is that they text you, pops up, so you've got the right phone number. You're not always 100% positive that you got the right email address, but when it catches them and they have to do that at a quick notice, you've got a lot better of an opportunity of getting people's information than you even do from a sign-in. Because when you do a sign-in, people will tend to miss things or leave things out. I have had people that have tried to text me and leave out their email address. And I ask them, could you please send me your email address? If somebody does not want to sign in when they come to an open house, I let them know that thank you for stopping by, but I'm going to need to ask them to leave. It is okay to send somebody on their way. There is a situation of safety. There is a situation of your seller's home. And if they don't want to give you your information, they say they've got a realtor, well, that's fabulous. They can have their realtor then schedule an appointment for them to be able to view the home. A lot of agents are uncomfortable asking someone to leave. And I understand that, but my comment is buck up, and it'll make you feel really good when you do it, because I have done it before. I've asked people, I'm sorry, but my seller requires that everybody sign in. For my safety, everybody needs to sign in. Ask you to please come back another time with your agent then, and we'd be more than happy to show you the home. So sometimes people get upset about it. Oh, well, I'd rather be safe, and I'd rather have the property safe for my seller. So you guys, touchless is a great way to go. It's easy, it's clean. One thing that you can do is still have a notepad that you can take notes for yourself to keep track of who people are, things that you've learned about them. Asking them those questions if they need to sell a home is you starting to build that relationship with them. If you put it all down on a piece of paper that you're not interacting with them, it's not helping you to build that relationship. All right. So let's talk about a little bit more detail about planning your sign strategy. Signs are an inexpensive and effective marketing tool. You're going to find that you're going to get a lot of people that are going to come to your open house just from driving by. I always like to ask people when they come in, how did you hear about our open house? I have people say Facebook. I have people that have said my realtor told me that I could stop by and take a look. Or I just drove by and saw your signs. All right, so drive the different routes people take to your open house. Remember I made the comment about there being two different directions into some communities? You want to try to capture those people from anywhere that you possibly can. So consider the amount of turns. Make sure that you've got directionals that are telling them which way they need to turn. Research the local and HOA regulations. This is probably one of the biggest challenges that we face as realtors, is the issue with no signs. Give you an example. Laureate Park in Lake Nona had a listing out there, and I had one agent that did an open house on that listing, had a ton of signs, had no problems. Then had another agent that the HOA got on them. You know, some agents will take the risk, even if the HOA has guidelines against it. I leave that up to you all. But you really need to know what's going on, what you can do and what you can't do. If you need a permit for doing an open house signs, you need to do your research and know what's going on. Another thing that comes up is gated communities. I have seen agents that will literally put a sticky note or tape on the gate code. Don't do that. That is such a no-no. I have seen agents that have put in their open house in the address and a phone number to be buzzed in, or instructions for the gate on how to get in. The best effective way to do an open house in a gated community is get somebody to stand out at the gate. That is the right way to do it. That way they can direct them, they can put in the code for them. It's a hard thing to find somebody to do it, but if you really want to do an effective open house and do it properly, you really should take the extra time to have somebody out there that is directing them, unless it's a community that has the gate open during the day. And that happens sometimes too. Coming soon signs. There's no reason why you can't have a sign writer that says Saturday, or open house Saturday, 11 to 3. It's okay to do that. But let me tell you something that you don't do. And that is, you've got an open house that is on a Saturday from 11 to 3. You do not go on Friday and put all of the signs throughout the neighborhood and put your sign out in front of the home that says open house and think that it's okay. Yes, I have a story behind this. It has happened. The seller ends up hiding in their house because everybody's knocking at their door saying, "Why is the door locked? I'm here for the open house." Don't put your signs out until the day of the open house right before it. It is okay to do a coming soon, but do not do the directionals and the sign out in the front. Because I didn't realize that sometimes people, even though they've been through the class, don't realize that. All right, so doing your research, learn everything there is to know about the home. I already gave you guys an example of my situation that happened with a pool bath. Compile your information on alternative properties. Make sure you know homes that are higher price, lower price, homes that have, a different price point, other neighborhoods. Be knowledgeable, because that'll help that person that is out looking kind of bond with you if they don't have a realtor. A lot of times people will tell you that they have a realtor so that they feel like they get on the defensive, that we're going to pounce on them. But as you have conversations with them and you're getting to know them and you say, "Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but there is another house that's down the street that actually has 4 bedrooms. Might be something that you might want to take a look at." And you start that conversation, and all of a sudden you find out they really don't have a realtor because they're talking to you about viewing it. All right, put together a home information packet. Sometimes the seller may have a little bit more information about a home, so you can always put that information together. All right, let's talk about getting the word out. Make sure you do a Facebook event. Invite your friends. I don't know about y'all, but I have got hundreds of realtors that I'm friends with in Facebook. Invite as many people as you can through Facebook. Send it out to your teammates, your other realtor friends, and say, "Hey, would you share this?" Get it out to as many people as possible. Send it in Messenger to just people that you have in your sphere of influence. It says, hey, I'm going to be in your area. You may have sphere that are in different parts of Orlando. You know, message them and say, hey, I'm going to be at an open house, you know, in your area or in your neighborhood this weekend. Stop by and see me, because the more cars, the more activity is always positive. And you might get to see somebody in your sphere that you haven't talked to in a while. Again, another touch. Another class I've got about touching your database. I'm going to be touching them as many times as possible. And this is a great opportunity. Email it out to your database. Door knock and invite the neighbors. Put it in the MLS. Call prospective buyers, because you should have a list of prospective buyers that are possibly looking for homes in that area, and invite your sphere of influence. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, and I did not realize, bear with me one second, you guys, my camera, there we go, was covering up part of my verbiage. I had to move it into the corner. All right, so you go knock on somebody's door. Hi, my name is Gretchen, and I am with eXp Realty. You may have noticed my sign just went up in the neighborhood for an open house at the Funk's home at 123 Main Street. As a courtesy to them, they requested that I come by and invite all of the neighbors to the open house this Saturday from 11 to 3. I have found that neighbors are interested in seeing what homes in their area are selling for and how they're decorated. So do you think you might be able to stop by this weekend? Super easy. If the community says no soliciting, or you feel as though you are bothering them or trying to sell them something, you're not. All you're doing is inviting them to come to an open house. It's an invite. And you can always say, you know, Mr. and Mr. Smith down the street have their home for sale, and I'm doing an open house this weekend, and they, you know, requested that I invite all the neighbors, because, hey, you may know somebody that's looking and moving into the neighborhood. You would be surprised at the amount of people that tell their friends and family about homes that are for sale in their neighborhood because they want to live near each other. It actually, it kind of shocked me, and the amount of people that actually do that. So it actually does happen. All right, sometimes they might say, no, we're going to be out of town this weekend, or I'm not interested. No problem. You know, I'd also like to ask, you know, many times many times neighbors like to pick their own neighbors. Do you happen to know anyone who's interested in moving into the neighborhood? Or who in your family might want to live close by? These scripts, remember something. It's called memorize, internalize, and then customize. That's part of the reason why I start stumbling on scripts, is because I've now taken the scripts and memorized them and have it all down, so that I can then spit it back out in my own words with leaving in the embedded commands. So you've got a couple embedded commands in here, and that is, who do you know, or do you know anyone? Who do you know? Do you know anyone? Those are embedded commands. So if you take that part of it and customize it into your own wording so that you're comfortable, you can be really successful with this. Hey, no problem. I totally understand that you can't come by this weekend, but, you know, let me ask you, who do you know that might be thinking about moving into the neighborhood or might want to live close to you? You've still accomplished the same thing. So keep that in mind on scripts. If they say yes, you know, yeah, you know, I'd love to stop by. I've always wanted to see what that house looks like, you know, and by the way, what is it selling for? They'll start asking questions about it. So sometimes the buyers who come to the home are looking for something different. This is a really important one. So sometimes the buyers that are coming and looking at the homes are looking for something different. Do you happen to know anybody else in the neighborhood who's thinking about selling? You know, another thing that you can say to them is, oh, that's great. I'll love to see you this weekend. You know, let me ask you, you know, we really have a strained market right now, and there's not enough homes on the market for the amount of buyers that we have out looking. Do you happen to know anybody else in the neighborhood that's thinking about selling? Because this is such a great neighborhood. Do you know anybody? And when you ask a question, stop talking. Let them think. Silence is okay. By the way, this whole presentation is going to be available to you on my business page on Facebook. So you're welcome to go back and go through those scripts or go through and utilize anything that is available out here. So let's talk about a homeowner checklist. You know, it's really important to make sure that the seller is prepared for the open house. So you've got a little bit of conflicting situations that happen here. One is that you're doing an open house on one of your own listings. So you may feel as though you have more control over the process. You've been in the house, you've seen the house, you have actually helped get the house ready, you know how they live, so you're more comfortable. What happens if you're doing an open house on a home that you're doing for another listing agent? Don't assume, everybody knows where assuming can get you. Don't assume that that agent, even with their experience, has prepared their seller for an open house. Ask them if you can talk to the seller, to go over the open house checklist with them, to be able to confirm with the seller. Sometimes you may have a listing agent that says, I've confirmed it, everything's good. You know, they're going to be leaving about an hour before. You're good. That's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that. Have you provided them with an open house prep list? Have you had a conversation with them on how to leave the house ready to go? Go into detail with them about that. And let me tell you why. Another story. I know two agents. One was a listing agent and one was the agent that was doing the open house. Both awesome people. The listing agent had experience, great agent. He told him everything's ready to go, you're good. Agent got everything ready for the open house, showed up about an hour before the open house. The seller had not cleaned the house. There was dirty dishes in the kitchen. They had cooked some type of fish the night before or that day. The house stunk. The bed wasn't made. The dishes weren't done. The house was a wreck. The seller wasn't going to leave. So this agent proceeded to spend the entire hour cleaning this house and getting it ready to go, along with trying to get their signs out and having to deal with the seller being there. So me personally, I would have been, I'm out and just canceled the open house. And you know, everything that I've planned is out the door. All the work that you've done preparing for it, marketing it, everything is all for naught. Make sure you have the right conversation with the listing agent. Do not assume that they know how to prepare their house for a listing. I don't care how experienced they are, how many years they've been selling. If you have not done an open house for them, find out. Listing agents, if you are allowing someone to do an open house for you, find out how thoroughly they've been trained on doing an open house. Because doing it right can be very effective. Our sellers think that when we're doing an open house, it is for us to market their home and find a buyer. It is. There is always that possibility and that chance that we may get a buyer out of that open house. But the main purpose of an agent taking the time and investing in marketing and knocking doors and preparing is to get leads. It is such an amazing lead source. So do it right and you will set yourself up for success. Give those sellers an open house checklist. Make sure that, you know, all the lighting is on and make sure that all of the lights have bulbs. I cannot believe the amount of houses that I show that there are light bulbs out all over the place. Smoke detectors beeping. I mean, just issues. If the house is vacant, you're doing an open house, go look at it beforehand. Yes, there is homework to do. We don't just show up with the sign and cookies. Make sure the temperature is set properly. Make sure the countertops in the kitchen are clear and the sink is empty. Make sure all the laundry is put away. Make sure the floors are tidy. Make sure the bedrooms and bathrooms are tidy and the beds are made. Make sure their valuables are put away. Get the dogs out of the house. Sometimes you might end up with a cat, but you can always work around that. Make sure that all the vehicles are out of the driveway. It amazes me how often I go to show a home and the car is pulled up in the driveway, blocking the sidewalk. You can't even go around the car to get to the sidewalk. You got to walk through the grass, and there's red ants. You guys, get the cars out of the driveway. If you're taking a listing and you've got showings on the house, get the cars out of the driveway. Just an extra tip and peeve of mine. So just thought that I would mention that. So get that house ready to go and ask the sellers to leave the premises, that it makes the buyers feel more comfortable. They get very uncomfortable when the sellers are stalking over them and they don't feel comfortable to ask questions and kind of really get the right feel for the home. The day of the open house, gather your gear. So you want to grab your open house kit along with your computer. I always ask for Wi-Fi codes to try to get Wi-Fi so I don't have to use my hotspot. You want to take every opportunity that you're sitting there to be productive, because you can be doing things on your computer. A lot of times that's where I used to write my thank you cards and just write cards to people. Decide on your outfit. You guys, think about what you're wearing. I have been to some really tragic open houses that people are just not dressed appropriately. And don't pay attention to what they're doing on HGTV and what they're wearing, because I find that tragic as well. Dress professional. If you've got a branded shirt for your brokerage, wear that. Wear your name badge. Look professional. It will draw buyers to you, that they want to work with you, that you take your business seriously. Because when they see you, they're going to first judge you based upon your presentation and then on your knowledge. So pay close attention to that. Make safety a priority. You want to make sure that you know that house, how to get in it, how to get out of it, and you want to arrive early for setup. I've seen agents that have shown up 15 minutes, 10 minutes before the open house. That is not sufficient time, let alone to open all of the blinds, get all the lights on, get your items set up, to go and put all of those signs out there and how to handle all of that. So you need to arrive early. So the other thing that I want to talk about, and I don't have a slide for this, is, so many agents say to me, oh my God, it's 100 degrees outside and I just went and put all these signs up. And maybe you don't have somebody to help you to get your signs out there ahead of time. It's great when you got kids or spouses that can help do those types of things. But a lot of times we're out there doing this all on our own. So you know what you do? Wear shorts, wear gym shoes or flip-flops, put your girl's hair in a ponytail, do whatever you need to do so that you're comfortable. Go get all of your signs out after you've set up the house. Come back, have a change of clothes. I bring deodorant, I bring like baby wipes, a hairbrush, makeup. Go in, get completely changed and refreshed and everything, and then put the sign out in the front yard that says, this is the house with the open house. I keep the door locked. Be ready to go when your open house starts. So if you're scheduled at 11, you want to be ready to go at 11 because you've marketed it on Facebook. You have let people know about it. You've put it in MLS, so there may be other agents that are bringing buyers by. So you want to be there ahead of time. If you're putting 20 signs out and there's a lot of turns and a lot of stuff going on, you may need even more than an hour. So always set your house up first on the inside, get all the blinds open, get all of your materials set up, then go out and put your signs out. And then once you've changed and you're ready to go, then put your sign in your front yard. That's kind of the process to everything. All right, let's talk a little bit about Realtor Safety. There is on trying to see here. Hang on. This is small on here and I can't see exactly where I thought I knew where the website was. Once we're done here and we're all chatting, I can verify, but it's Beverly Carter Foundation. And you can just Google Beverly Carter Foundation. And those of you that do not know who Beverly Carter is, she is a realtor that unfortunately was murdered while out showing homes. And it's a very sad story. And even with the precautions that she had taken, it really wasn't, unfortunately, enough. So we all have to be careful in what we're doing, from showing homes to doing open houses, that you are setting yourself in a position that you're going to stay safe. So on her website is an open house safety list of everything that you should be doing, because it is more than balloons and cookies and real estate signs. So let's talk about a couple of high tips of things that you can do. Have a buddy. A lot of realtors will buddy with another realtor, split leads that come in. That way you can manage everything that's going on. I have seen realtors that have had a home inspector come, or a title person, or a mortgage person. It's good to have a buddy there. I have had agents that have had maybe a spouse or a parent or somebody that's kind of sat over in the corner reading, so that, you know, they've got somebody there with them. You know, it's better to have a business partner to help you, but if you want an extra layer of protection, use the buddy system. A new system that our team, and actually Jeff Funk, our team leader, has implemented, is a cloud-based cameras. So having cameras that are positioned throughout the house, that are cloud-based, that you can actually watch on the cameras, and it actually records what's going on and who's there at the open house. So that's just another technology tool that's out there to take your safety to another level. Securing the home after the open house. You know, make sure that everything is locked and everything is locked back up. But as you go through this checklist, you'll see that there are a lot of things that you can be doing on knowing where the access points are. Don't ever block yourself into a room. You know, don't walk into a bedroom and open up a closet for somebody that's put you and them and then the door. You want to make sure that you are the one that always has the closest access to the door. So it's some of those, as I call, common knowledge, common sense kind of things. But, you know, we're all very social that are in real estate, and we're getting out there and we're talking with people, and we kind of lose sight of that. So make sure that you're taking some extra steps. And one thing that I learned on here that I thought was kind of neat is that sometimes people don't always ring the doorbell. They'll kind of come in, and there was in here, says about the doorbell, and putting some type of chimes on the actual doorknob of the door. And I thought that was a great idea. That was something new that I learned when I was introduced to this checklist. So some really great tips in there. And if you get a chance, take a few minutes to go on to Beverly Carter Foundation website. And like I said, at the end, we'll make sure we've got that website in the chat for you. All right. Ask as many questions as possible. What brings you here today? Are you in the market for a home? Often people come to an open house because they're curious to what their home might be worth. And I have so many people that will come in that are from the neighborhood and say, oh, just wanted to see what the house was selling for, just trying to get an idea of what's happening in the neighborhood. You know, you can tell them that you can get them set up. Those that are not on the Funk Collection team, we actually have a website that we use to keep people updated. But in the MLS system, there is a marketing report that you can set up. It's free for MLS users, that they'll get a newsletter once a month with their value of their home and what has sold. And it is awesome. So if you want to know more about that, just let me know and I can tell you more about it. But it's another way to get engaged with somebody in that neighborhood that's even thinking about selling in the future, to start building that relationship. When you've got a buyer that comes in, you want to start asking them questions about, what they're looking for. If they looked at a lot of homes, said that, are they just doing open houses? Do they have a home to sell? So you want to just start asking questions, and that will start building that relationship and engaging them in the process. Because your ultimate goal is to turn it into an appointment. Follow up the next day. This is where everybody drops the ball. This and door knocking is probably the two biggest challenges that I've had with agents that I've trained and coached. Take the time to take those people, put them into your follow-up system, in your CRM, and then follow up with them. Hello, Bob Buyer. Hello, Bob Buyer. This is Gretchen with eXp Realty. I wanted to take a minute to thank you for coming to my open house yesterday. I wanted to follow up to see if you had any immediate real estate needs. Maybe you didn't get into a deep conversation with them. Maybe you did get into a little bit of a conversation with them and you wanted to follow up with them to make sure that you're going to keep in touch with them to keep them up on the value of their home. Or you're going to get them set up for an appointment for a full buyer consultation and start looking for a home with them. Ask them if they've started a conversation with a lender. Not have you talked to a lender. Have you started a conversation with a lender? Another great tip that I learned from Renee Funk. So Reneeism. Have you ever started have you started a conversation with a lender? It's such a nice way to ask. Continue with your pre-qualifying script, which is all about your buyer consultation. Let them know that you'll be sending them updates on new properties as they become available. So that's when you're going to start converting into your buyer consultation process. Post open house follow-up. Add them to your CRM system. If you're not using a CRM, I'm going to tell you what, it changed my life. Get a CRM. We work with Follow Up Boss, and it is amazing. Set everyone up for property email updates. And you can do that if they're looking for a home or if you want to keep them updated on what's going on in their neighborhood. Send everyone a handwritten note card. So if they do say that they own a home or they live in the neighborhood and you don't have their address, where do we go? Property tax records, find their address, send them a handwritten note card. And set up future follow-up tasks. Make sure that you are intentionally following up with them because they may not be selling today or they may not be buying tomorrow. But if you stay in contact with them, it is another contact that you now have that you can work. All right, so that is everything with the open house class. This is my contact information. You are welcome to email me, call me, text me, any questions that you might have. And I'm super excited to announce that one of my other favorite classes is buyer consultation. Mark your calendar, Thursday, December the 3rd at 11 a.m. back here on Zoom. I will have a different background. Hopefully I'll be at another home inspection for another house I've sold. So hope you guys can make it out that day. All right, we are going to switch over now. Renee, you want to pop us up?
Yeah, let me pull everybody over because I'd love, that was an awesome class. Let me pull everybody over so we can see what questions they may have, or give me one.
If anybody has suggestions, I mean, everything I've gotten here, you guys, has come from everybody else. And, classes that I've been to, agents that have given me tips.
I am having a bit of a challenge pulling everyone over, Gretchen. Let me see. We have, okay, so Wade asked a question in chat. Well, I try to get everybody pulled over. Wade asked, do you have a favorite icebreaker for when they come in the home, Gretchen?
I always say to everybody, hey, welcome. I'm so glad you made it out today. Tell me, are you looking for a new home? I just ask them straight up. You're looking to buy a new home? And this is, obviously then you're going to move into making sure that they sign in, because that seems to be a bit of the process. But I just introduce myself. I say, hey, I'm Gretchen. Welcome to my open house. Are you guys currently looking for a new home? Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. It's just about making people feel welcome and making them, feel good about being there, and that, that you're not unhappy about being there. I think when you approach people and you're friendly and welcoming, it'll make them feel comfortable. Does that help?
I agree 100% on that, Gretchen. And I think that an often misconception about those who are attending an open house, and I hear agents say a lot, well, they weren't really in the market to buy. They were just looking around, or they were curious. I've always wanted to see what the inside of this home looked like. And so when we talk to realtors after they host an open house and we say, how many contacts did you add to your database? Almost always I hear, well, we had 3 come through that were potential buyers and I had 10 total, or whatever the number is. But it seems like maybe 20 to 30% could be actual buyers in the marketplace. And then you had maybe 70 to 80% of the visitors who were not really in the marketplace, but were just curious. The biggest mistake agents make is by not having the mindset that those 70 to 80% visitors who are not in the marketplace are critical to building your database to give you an opportunity to earn relationships with neighbors in the community. So they are a potential relationship opportunity for you, which that's what this is all about.
Yep. Couple other things that I wanted to add here is 2 different things. One about music and scent, and the other one is about people. When people are coming in, and like Renee's saying that they had 10 people come through, but they only had 3 potential buyers. Well, every single person that comes into that is a new contact for you. And just like I said, just because they're not thinking about selling today, they're not thinking about buying tomorrow, or if they have a realtor, does not mean that you cannot build a relationship with them. My second to last house that I put under contract, $400,000 house. They had another realtor that they were working with, and they just were not happy with how things were going with that realtor. So just because they have a realtor does not mean that you are not going to build a relationship with them and sell them a home. Now, back to the question on music. I think that if you have an opportunity that you can have a nice music, absolutely. Doing something nice scent-wise, a lot of agents will burn a candle. It's okay to do that. Say, well, are they going to think that you're trying to cover something up? Well, if the house is clean, you're not trying to cover something up. People can tell if you're trying to cover something up. So if scents are important, music is important. If you have the opportunity that you can put it on. All right.
I invited everyone over. I have them all, so anybody can open up their camera and their mic. Gretchen, would you mind unsharing your screen now so that we can, if anyone would like to open up their mics and their cameras and join us for conversation, they can. Jordan asked, any strategies for when you have multiple people enter at the same time, and how do you juggle speaking to all of them? I would say the number one strategy on that, Jordan, is that we have a rule on our team. We do buddy system 100% of the time. We don't actually ever do open houses on our team with one person. Realtor Safety is at the forefront of everything that we do, and it's a bit of a soapbox item for us because we hope that more people continue to put a spotlight on Realtor Safety. So we don't believe that you should ever be alone doing it. And when you have more than one partner, if you have a partner or 2 that comes together, especially with the COVID and being extra safe about managing traffic, having multiple people there manages that, because you have one person who could be giving a tour and someone else who works the doors, and you take turns.
Right. Another thing is you may have a buddy there and they're over to the side having in a great deep conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden you have 3 groups that come in, and you know what? I treat them as a big group. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm so glad that everybody could make it out today. And I talk to them as a group. If everybody could just take a minute, You'll see my sign here. Text me your name and your email address for our own safety and to register for our seller. You know, would love for you guys to look around the house, feel welcome. Hope that I can get to know each one of you. And you just kind of have to juggle it. And, you know, some might go this direction and some might go that direction. But before you're done, you've had a chance to talk with everybody. You're driving the bus here. You need to take control. Don't be shy.
One other thing I wanted to piggyback on what you shared, Gretchen, on the cameras to take a deeper dive is we did recently implement cloud-based cameras. We have an inventory of cameras for all of our agents to use for an added layer of security. It is critically important you understand the legalities around that. In the state of Florida, we have legalities we need to be aware of, and in our open houses on the door, and there's multiple places that there are notices that says this is being recorded for video and audio. Having those signs up, actually our signs are in English and in Spanish, and they're red signs with the camera and it says notice. I would have had one here, I should have, but you need to understand that it needs to be closed. But
And
we have them marked
blue,
everywhere.
yeah, and blue, you know, the blue tape that you use, the construction uses, we use the blue tape, and that way it doesn't hurt anything. If it's on a wall, doesn't tear anything up.
Gretchen, it was a great class. What other questions do you all have? She's amazing, by the way. Gretchen is amazing.
I just love helping agents. It's something I really enjoy. All right, Wade's got something. He raised his hand.
I have a question on actually scheduling open houses. So for the last about 2 months, I've reached out to a few realtors to try and schedule open houses, and they're all sold. On 3 of the 4 occasions, they all sold before the actual open house, or were under contract under the open house. So I don't know if there's a solution for that.
Well, how far ahead of time did you?
Generally about Monday. I try and schedule Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, what I would do is you're going to have conversations with people, but a couple things that you can do. Find out from agents when they've got a listing going live. You know, we are very strategic about when we put our listings up, and that is on either Wednesday is the goal. Sometimes they happen Thursday. Schedule an open house then for either Friday or Saturday morning and have an agreement with that agent that even if they get offers in, that you're going to still proceed with an open house to try to get multiple offers in for that seller, because it's going to increase their commission. It's going to increase the sales price on the home. So go about that strategy. Hey, who's got new listings coming up that I can do an open house right when it hits the market? The other thing is maybe talk to them on Monday, but remember you've got that 3-day ahead timeline. So on Wednesday, if they don't have an offer on Wednesday, have a conversation. Hey, if you get an offer on Thursday, can we have an agreement that comes Saturday morning and that we're still going to do the open house, because I'm going to really start marketing this. So Monday may be a little bit too soon to totally commit to an open house. You got to kind of push it to Wednesday. But honestly, one of your best strategic measures is getting agents that have listings getting ready to hit the market, because that is the best time. And in the future here, I'll do a listing class, because what I talk about is that window of opportunity. Because when you first put a house on the market, that window of opportunity is the best time to get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time when that house hits the market. And if you can do an open house on it, it is so important. So hopefully that helps you, Wade.
Hey, Gretchen, one other thing, a lot of agents, they're starting to think about backup offers. So even doing an open house on something that just went, if it went pending on Wednesday or Thursday, you might still do the open house during the weekend to get those backup offers, because there's so many things that come in during that inspection period. And so many agents use as-is contracts that if a buyer comes in and says, I've got a laundry list of repairs, you might just hop over to a different contract. So
that is so true, Jeff. We've been talking about that in our team meetings and our huddles, that we're seeing so much of that you're having opportunities with buyers to get in with those backup offers.
We're sometimes hoping that people send a cancellation over because we have a better backup offer.
Yeah, that's very true.
Most of the time a backup offer will even they try and make it attractive for you to move over to that offer. So it's a good opportunity.
We had a question that came in via chat, and it says, if you are door knocking and someone does not answer, would you leave a note about invitation request for the open house? If it's allowed, is that, if it's allowed, or if it's not, is this solicitation at that point?
It's an invitation. I mean, you may have somebody that's just a super grumpy neighbor, but it's an invitation. You know, we're inviting you to an open house.
Piggybacking again, Gretchen, on something you mentioned about gated communities, because we personally don't do a lot of gated community open houses. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but Gretchen's point is so critically important. If it's a gated community, it must then be a buddy system and probably 3 people, because you need a human guarding that gate to manage it. If you have the temptation to want to have a workaround and put a sign up, you know, something on the gate pad or keypad, here's what you need to remind yourself. You're just going to upset the neighbors, because the neighbors who live within that gated community don't want anyone to circumvent the securities that are put up. So if you have a person who's standing there to manage that flow and send them through, that's perfectly acceptable and allowed, providing, you know, it's allowed with the HOA rules. But don't be tempted to put a sticker up or anything, because it just frustrates neighbors, and that's doing the exact opposite, because you want to be the mayor of your town and you want to be the resource that everybody loves and adores in that neighborhood. So just a pointer.
That's a really important pointer. I'm gonna tell you what, you can find a teenager out there that wants to make some money that you can stick out there with an umbrella and a chair, and they can work the gate for you. What else do we got? All right, well, I hope that this was beneficial to everybody. It looks like we've got some great feedback. Come to my buyer consultation class in December. We would love to have you. We are going to continue this process each month with a class. I've got some awesome listing classes that I love to do. Jeff and Renee have been getting on me for a while to get all my PowerPoints together. So this is going to keep me motivated to get them ready to go. In the future, I also want to do my DISC class. I was telling Renee this morning, I love the DISC, and it has literally changed my life and helped me with sales on understanding my buyers and sellers' behavioral style and how to communicate with them. The buyer consultation is really awesome because it will save you time. And that is the most important part about it, is saving you time, because you can show less houses and get more people under contract with the buyer consultation class. So we'll see you back here in December. In the meantime, you have a question, have any ideas, just need to have a conversation on just want to be coached through something, you guys reach out to me anytime. I'm here to help. I love helping people. And also, I don't know who's with EXP, who's not with EXP. That doesn't matter. We're all in this together. If you are with EXP and you're interested in doing open houses, reach out, because we've always got listings coming about on our team, and I've got two more that are going to be coming up here. One of them is gated. I don't know that this particular community we're going to be able to pull off open houses, but I've got one that definitely can have open houses.
Thank you, Gretchen. You rock. You're awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.